I hope you guys are ready for another WIP Wednesday. Thank you for coming back and checking it out. I'm really happy to have you here and definitely really excited to show off my project. So this is what I've been working on. If you watched last week's episode, then you know that I'm making a hat for my husband, and this is a cabled Fair Isle design. It is by, what's his name again? Dale Huang. It is called Aluminum, and it is free on Ravelry. So highly recommend checking it out if you want a challenging pattern, because wow, let me tell you, this pattern is really hard. It's super advanced, and the cabling in addition with Fair Isle is like really complicated. So I haven't made too much progress since the last video because I am like kind of putting off working on it because I'm just like, after the mystery knit along, which was like, it had complicated parts, and then this is a complicated project, kind of just wishing that I had something that's easier and more chill, I guess. But I'm really excited about the way it's coming together. I think that's the benefit. Like, it's a hard, challenging pattern, but the payoff is really nice because I really love how all the colors are like kind of crossing over each other. And, you get these like Ys that are opening up and crossing over and just keeps repeating over and over. And man, when this hat is finished, the top of it looks amazing. It looks like a snowflake or something. So that is one thing I'm like really, really excited for. But this, I'm on a cabling row right now, so you might have to bear with me. I might be a little bit slow talking because I need to make sure I'm cabling the right way. But yeah, let's get into this week's episode. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can really tell in the video, but it is actively raining right now. But I decided that I was going to film today and I wanted to stick with that schedule. So I found a table with an umbrella. I brought a towel to clean everything off, and here we are. So it's kind of interesting weather for Los Angeles. It wasn't like this when I first moved here. Which is the thing I wanted to talk to you about today, because I think that my story of how I moved here to Los Angeles is pretty cool. So that happened after I graduated college in 2017. And I was planning on moving here with a friend. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, just making sure I'm crossing the right way. Am I? That's what needs to happen. Okay. See, I wasn't paying attention and I almost messed it up. So, here we go. I see what I did. I should have crossed this. Okay. To the back. Anyway, so I graduated college in 2017, and a friend of mine wanted to move to Los Angeles to pursue acting. And I was kind of looking to get out of North Carolina, because I'd just been like born and raised in the South, and I had recently come out in 2015 at the time, so I had been out for like 2 years when I graduated, and I don't know, I just wanted like freedom, and I really latched on to the idea that Los Angeles or like the West Coast could be that freedom for me, and I really just felt like I was being called to the West Coast. Like, I felt like I really had to do it. So I was making plans with this friend to move out here together, and we were gonna like, get an apartment, live together, and kind of pursue our dreams together. Well, unfortunately, he had a family emergency like 4 days before we were supposed to move. And, it's, for me, it was something that I couldn't delay because I didn't have any other plan. My only plan was to move here. And so, he wanted me to wait, but he didn't know like how long it was going to be. Obviously, family emergency takes priority. So I was just like, well, I'm going to have to go by myself and kind of just figure it out. So I I packed up my car and I didn't want to tell my parents that I was moving by myself at that point because I knew that they were going to be scared. Because apparently I had a cousin who moved out here years ago and it didn't work. And like it was like a whole drama, I guess. I'm not really sure the details of that. But my parents were kind of triggered by that. And so I didn't want to tell them and scare them because they were already scared that I was going to like end up on the street or something, which honestly is kind of a valid concern if you consider Los Angeles as a whole. So I don't blame them for being concerned, but that's the reason I didn't want to make them even more worried. So I didn't tell them that my friend had backed out and was not going to be coming with me. So I left from my parents' driveway and I had my car loaded up with everything that I wanted to bring, basically everything to my name, and just hit the road. I took I-40 all the way from Wilmington, North Carolina, because that's where my college town is. So actually, I left my parents' house and I went to Wilmington, I think for one night, just to like say goodbye to my friends and everything from college. But then I hit the road the next morning and I was like, well, I'm just going to follow I-40 all the way and I'm just going to drive until it gets dark and, hopefully make some good progress here. So if you remember from the last week's video about tattoos, I mentioned that I got my Magnolia tattoo just like 4 days before moving here. And so it was still extremely fresh in the car, which was difficult to cope with. And I realized that very early on because I was like, oh, man, it's just like the entire day. The sun is out the entire day and I'm driving the entire day. And my arm is like up on the steering wheel in the sun all day. And I just got this new tattoo. And so I was just like, I guess kind of scrambling to figure out how I could not mess up my new tattoo. And so I remember like a couple hours into the drive, I was like, no, I need to stop at a CVS or something to get some lotion for this and, take good care of it because I really liked it and I didn't want it to get ruined just because I moved across the country. So I remember applying a lot of lotion to that tattoo on the drive, which helped a lot, but it was still a challenge. So let's see, day one. First of all, I guess let me just say this trip was like so special to me. I think about this trip all the time. It was such a nice solo adventure. I didn't have a partner at the time. I didn't have like anyone coming with me, which was, that was the plan at first. And I feel bad for how it ended up with that friend because I'll get to that at the end. But I don't regret the fact that I came alone because I had so much freedom and I was able to just, stop wherever I wanted. I didn't have to listen to anybody else's music, and I'm sure that would have been fun too. But it was really empowering for me and I really enjoyed it. So night one, I stopped in Memphis, Tennessee, and I got a hotel. And I should also mention that, because my friend backed out last minute, we were planning on moving here and then getting like an Airbnb for like a week or something while we kind of like scope out places to live. So that didn't end up happening. And so I kind of like was scrambling to find a place to live. And so actually when I hit the road on day one, I didn't even have anything lined up for apartment or job or anything. And so I was like all over Craigslist for the Los Angeles area, kind of just like chatting to people, checking out things. And on day one, I stopped at a McDonald's for the Wi-Fi because I was getting interviewed by this apartment. They were like subleasing their apartment, and it was two couples living in a 3-bedroom, and they needed somebody to take over the 5th roommate lease. So it actually ended up working out. And so when I woke up on morning 2, I had gotten a text from them saying that they wanted me to move in. So that was a huge relief because I really I didn't have anything and I was just going to move here and I guess get an Airbnb like the original plan and kind of scope it out myself. But I'm really glad that it worked out. I remember feeling immense relief when I woke up and saw that. So I was like super happy. Day 2, I drove from Memphis, Tennessee, all the way to Oklahoma City. And I don't remember exactly where I stopped on that day, except for I stopped in Shakota, Oklahoma, which is a very small town. And I stopped there because it's the hometown of Carrie Underwood. And I remembered as I was driving through Oklahoma that there is a song that she has that talks about how her hometown is like right off of I-40 and it's like a single stoplight town and all of that. So I was like, it hit me as I was driving through. I was like, wait a minute, I'm on I-40. Like, let me see if this is true. Like, I want to check it out. So I pulled over and sure enough, it was a small town, a single stoplight. It was extremely rural Oklahoma. But they had a sign there that said, hometown of Carrie Underwood, winner of American Idol 2004 or something, whatever year she won. So that was pretty cool because at the time I was like a huge Carrie Underwood fan. I'm not as big of a fan of her now. We don't have to get into that. But at the time I was really starstruck, honestly. I was like shaking. That's how like starstruck I was from the whole thing. So that was a really cool experience. I'm really glad that I was able to do that. And then I stayed at an Airbnb my second night, and that was in Oklahoma City. And, I was fresh out of college, didn't have a job lined up yet, so I was like looking for cheap options, right? So I ended up staying in this Airbnb, which basically this woman had turned her entire house into kind of like a hostel and she was renting out everything. So I paid $20 and got to sleep on her couch. And because her couch was in the living room, she was a huge Game of Thrones fan. And she was like, I hope you don't mind, but I like need to watch Game of Thrones in here because it was premiering that night or whatever episode. You know what I mean? There was an episode coming out. So she was like, I ordered KFC and you're welcome to have some. And just, if you like, don't mind me like using the TV, like you can have dinner with me and watch it. And that is the only episode of Game of Thrones I've ever seen. I couldn't tell you what happened in the episode. I have no idea. So long ago, I don't remember. But I thought that was a really cool experience. And the couch was honestly super comfortable, well worth the $20. So I left super early in the morning. I didn't see her again, but she left me a great review on Airbnb. I left her a good one, and it was kind of transactional, but it was nice. There was like no fuss about it. It was get in, get out, get on your way, and that's exactly what I needed. So I thought that was also like a special experience. Let's see what else. After that, I drove from Oklahoma City all the way to Flagstaff, Arizona. And oh my gosh, that was a long drive. I think that took 12 hours. And the previous 2 days had taken 10 hours. So it was the longest leg of the journey for sure. But I had stopped at a couple places along the way and I just kind of wanted to make more progress. I was really feeling up for it. So I made the push to Flagstaff and I stayed at this motel. And I remember getting a king bed room, which I don't think I'd ever seen a king bed before or never really known how big they are. And man, as a single person, you do not need a king bed. It is like really massively big. So I thought that that was like a really nice room and like a nice little treat for myself for having driven so much. Um, so that was a really nice stay as well. And the next morning, I got up and I was like, okay, today is the day that I'm going to arrive in Los Angeles. And it was only going to be an 8 hour drive, or it was going to be less than 8 hours maybe. So I decided to take a detour and go up. Um, I guess that must have been through Utah. And I wanted to see the Grand Canyon. And wow, and that is such a sight to behold. The Grand Canyon truly is grand. And there is a reason that it is called the Grand Canyon. I don't think that the pictures I took of it really captured the scale, but being there, you can fully appreciate like this is massive and expansive. And that's the main thought I took away from that is like, dang, they are not kidding about the Grand Canyon. It is everything it's cracked up to be. And I didn't even stay for that long. I think I stayed for at most an hour or two. Um, so, you know, it like you could have explored like so much more than I did. And it's like a whole park that you could like get into. And, you know, I only went to one vista point, but there was like a whole map full of areas that you could like stop and look at. So I thought that was really cool. I took a lot of selfies there. I thought it was cool. You know, I'm like out here really living my best life. And the pictures that I took on that trip, even if it was just like stopping at a Panera for lunch or something, like every now and then I'll look back at those pictures and just smile with fond memories because I don't know, I just got to bond with myself a lot. I was, I bought 3 CDs for the drive. Yes, I was using CDs at the time. Okay, don't judge me. I was still big on going to Target and getting CDs because, you know, for a long time, maybe even still, artists would release albums that would go to Target and they would have bonus tracks on them. So I was like super excited about the bonus tracks. The 2 albums that I remember on repeat the most were Kesha. I think the album was Rainbow. It's the one that has Praying on it. That album was really good. I think my favorite to listen to on the drive was Boots. And so now every time I hear that song, I always think about my drive across the country. And then the other one was a Maren Morris album, which I do not remember the name of it, but that one was really cool too. I liked the energy of that album. And so I would just kind of switch back and forth between those CDs. And when I listen to music, I love to listen to it on like repeat. So if I find a song that I like, forget about it. Like it's gonna be playing nonstop. So I had a lot of songs like that from both of those albums. And I think that there was a third album. I really can't remember what the third album was, but I think it was some kind of boy band or it was a male group of some kind. But I really don't remember. I must not have listened to that one that much. So anyway, hold on. Let me just check the camera. Okay, we're still going. I like to check every now and then because sometimes it cuts it off. And I want to make sure I'm not rambling too much because you guys know I love to talk. So anyway, yeah, those songs were really special to me, and they still are when I hear them. Anyway, after I left the Grand Canyon, I really considered driving through Vegas because it was another thing. As like a Southern kid, I never came that far out, so I never saw. But I decided not to because it would have been like, I think it would have added like 2 hours to the drive, and I really just wanted to, get there already. Sorry, got a little bit tangled. So, okay, after I left the Grand Canyon, I just came straight to LA. And it's a good thing I did because, oh my gosh, the traffic got considerably worse. And I was like, man, the roads, the biggest thing that stood out to me when I crossed over to California, one was the gas price. And I made such a bad decision that I still think about today. I've been driving for so long, days on end of just straight driving. And it was day 4. It was the last day of the drive. I really just wanted to get to California at that point. And I was naive about California gas prices. So I was like, getting close to needing to fill up. And I was almost out of Arizona. And I was like, no, I just want to keep driving. I just want to get to California. And I'll get gas once I cross the border, because I will have like accomplished something, you know? Man, crossing the border and seeing the gas prices, I instant regret. I almost thought about going back to Arizona because the gas price in California was like at least $1 more per gallon. So major regret there. And I think I had to go through some kind of border security check, like to make sure I wasn't bringing in like exotic fruits or plants or something like that. Um, it was something like that, some kind of border security just to get into California. Um, but yeah, I crossed over to California, and then after that, I think it was like about 3 or 4 hours to get to the apartment that I found on Craigslist. And I was really grateful for them. They were super nice, and they helped me, get settled. I think they helped me move some of the stuff in. And then they cooked dinner for me the first night, which, it was just their dinner that they had extra of. So it wasn't like, you know, anything like so special, but I thought it was really nice and it was meaningful. And, so began my life here in California. And I actually only ended up living in that apartment for 3 months because, as I mentioned, it was 2 couples and me. It was really fun, actually. It felt like my life was an episode of Friends for a little bit because there were just always so many people in the apartment. Like those 3 months really stand out to me because it was so unique. I never lived in anything like that. So it was really fun. But one of the couples decided to get a townhouse that December, and they were going to like buy it. So they wanted to, it was a 2 bedroom. So they basically made me an offer that was too good to say no to, because it was coming from a 3-bed, 2-bath apartment with 5 people. And they offered me to move to the townhouse where I would have my own bedroom and bathroom. I had my own bedroom in the other one, but this one had its own bathroom as well. And it's a townhouse, not an apartment complex. I also found out that I was actually not even supposed to be subletting. Like, I found out that they did it without approval from the apartment manager. So then I felt like really scared to live there still, because I was like, oh my gosh, like if they find out, I could get in trouble, and I don't want them to get in trouble, like I just want to like start my life already. So when they offered that, I was like, heck yes, like I want to go and live in like a legit place and like have an actual like contract between these people and me, so I am protected also. And they offered all of that with a $100 decrease in rent per month. So really, it was a no-brainer. I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to be moving again after just 3 months of living here. um, so, I mean, hey, it really worked out. It was a really great place to live. And, I ended up living there for about a year before I moved closer to actual downtown Los Angeles, which I'm not in downtown, but I'm like more in the city now. Whereas before I was up in the valley, which is still technically Los Angeles, but if you live here in Los Angeles, it's not really LA. It's the valley. So yeah, I'm grateful for all the people that I met in the beginning that really helped me feel a lot more established. Um, but then anyway, my friend, if you remember from the beginning of the story, he was going to move here and he wasn't sure how long it would take him to get here. And so I just kind of had to like figure it out on my own. And, oh man, I messed up. You know what? I'm going to put this down because I keep messing it up. I'm just going to wrap up the story here. So, my friend ended up moving here like 3 weeks after I had already gotten here and gotten settled. And I guess he had a different expectation than I did. He kind of expected that once he was here, I would just move in with him. But it had already been like so chaotic of getting here and like settling and finding a job here that I was like, look, it's great that you're here now, but I can't like pick up and move again. I just got here and I kind of felt bad. Like, the people that I moved in with were telling me how much, they really needed me for the rent, and they were like super grateful, and I was grateful for them. So I felt kind of weird, like ditching them. I don't know. Maybe it sounds weird because I had just met them, but I just kind of thought like we could still be friends and we don't have to like live together. But I don't think he really took it the same way. So it kind of sucks that happened. And he's still here. I'm still here, but we kind of fell out of conversation, or we fell out of touch, which is sad. But I kind of feel like it was good for me in the end that I didn't maintain that connection, because I was actually like fully free to discover myself in a different way without being tethered to something from before. So, yeah, I mean, what can you do, right? So, anyway, that's how I moved to Los Angeles. It has been 8 years and a couple months. Um, and really, I wouldn't look back. I wouldn't do it any differently. I really love all the decisions that I made that got me to this point. And, now I have a job basically of my dreams, and I have a husband, I have an apartment, I have like a whole established life here. So really everything that I did leading up to that was worth it. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that story. If you've ever really thought about moving somewhere and you're scared to do it, it can be definitely scary, but I did it, so you can totally do it too. So let me know what you think about that, and I hope you enjoyed that story, and I will check in with you guys next week. Thank you so much for coming back, and I hope that by next week I will have more progress on this hat. These cables are really just taking it out of me. So anyway, thanks y'all. I'll talk to you soon.